today we will learn fitting of a normal distribution. So our aim is to find out the most appropriate values of the parameters involved in the distribution. Now in this case the parameters are mu and sigma, and then we have to first estimate mu and sigma, and then we have to find out the then we have to fit the distribution. Then we have to find out the theoretical frequencies. And here in the normal distribution we have to take the help of the table of areas or the area property of a normal distribution when it comes to finding out the theoretical frequency. Now we will move to an example so that you will know how to you will know how to fit a normal distribution for a given data. Now this is a problem given to you, and it says that you have to fit an appropriate normal curve to the following data and calculate the theoretical frequencies. Now this in this case you are given some classes and its corresponding frequencies. Now I hope you remember what you have did in binomial and Poisson. There you have found out the estimate of what the parameter. It's the same way you have to find out the estimate of the parameter. Now in this case this is a normal distribution. As I said earlier, you have to find out the parameters, you have to find out the estimate of the parameters being mu and sigma. So let's see. Now for fitting, and after that only you can fit a normal curve. So you need the values of x bar and sigma. So in order to find out x bar and sigma, you can carry on some calculations which you have done in your like previous semesters, where you study to how to find the mean and the variance. Okay, so in a similar manner, whatever you have studied in the previous semesters, we are going to apply that right now. So the first column being the classes. Now right now I just wrote it as variable. The second column, what I did is I took the midpoints of each class. The third column I wrote the frequencies. So you have to so what are we going to do now? We are going to find out x bar and sigma. Now the fourth column I'm going to find out the deviations from the midpoint. Okay, now 67. Now you might be wondering what is 67. 67 is my assumed mean. So before that I would like to take you to a place where this is my formula. X bar is equal to a plus summation ft divided by n into I, where I is the class interval or the width, d is the deviations, f is the frequency. Okay, so and capital N is the total number of total number of frequency, capital A is the assumed mean. I hope you remember this formula which you have studied in the previous semesters. So this formula, this is something that I'm going to take into consideration right now in order to find out x bar. You can find you can use any formula to find x bar. You have studied a lot of formulas regarding arithmetic mean, right? So you can use any formulas which you are comfortable in. So actually m minus 67 divided by 3, this is d. Okay, so I'm really sorry I haven't written d over here. Now this is equal to d. This is your d. D means what? D is the deviations from your instead of since these are given in class, I have taken the midpoint. So from the midpoints and the assumed mean. So here we are taking the assumed mean as 67. Okay, then you have to divide that by 3. Now what is 3? 3 is the width of the class interval, that is I. Okay, now you can see that here it is an inclusive class interval, this is not an exclusive. So here from 60 to 62, so the width is 62 is also included in this class, so the width is 3. So that is how I divided this by 3. If it was an exclusive class interval, 62 might won't be included, so that will be different. I mean the width will be different. So no, we won't go into depth regarding the class intervals. If you have any doubt, you can check the previous semester's notes. Okay, so that is how you find out D, and that is this column. The next column is you have to multiply F into D, so that also you have here. Then in the next column you have to multiply F into D square. So I haven't introduced another column called D square that you can calculate. It is very easy. Then I have found out the sum, and I have found out the sum of the last column also. This we can use, the last column we can use this for standard deviation, or to find out the sigma. Okay, so let's see what we can do. Now we have all the table, we have all the columns that is necessary for the calculations. So this is the formula that we have adopted for arithmetic mean, which is equal to the assumed mean is 67 plus summation FD. Let's see what is summation FD. It is 15 divided by your total number of frequency is 100, multiplied by the width is 3, and your x bar is 67.45. Now you have to find out the standard deviation, that is sigma, which is a root of summation FD square divided by n minus summation FD by n the whole square. So this root is for both these terms. Okay, and you have to multiply this by I, that is your the width of the class. Now that is equal to root of what is summation FD square, that also you have found out over here. It is 97. So 97 divided by 100 minus 15 divided by 100 the whole square into 3, which is equal to 2.92. Now that you have your x bar and sigma, that is you have found out the estimates for your parameters, what you can do, you can substitute that or into your density function. That is what you have done in the binomial and Poisson's. A similar way you do the same procedure here also. That is you substitute the values in your density function. Okay, so this is how it looks like. And after that, what you have to do is you have to find out the expected frequencies or theoretical frequencies. Now let's see how to find out the theoretical frequency. Now for that I have 7 columns over here. Now the first column is the class limit. Now you can see that the class limit, I have done a small adjustment over here. Now what is that adjustment? I have wrote 59.5 to 62.5. So what I did over here is I just, so in the question it was like this, that is it was a inclusive class. So I just converted into an exclusive class by adding a point, by reducing a 0.5 and adding a 0.5 over here. Okay, so this will help you, this will make your calculation more easier. Okay, so that is why I did an adjustment like this in the first column. In the second column what I did is, so in some questions you will get it as an exclusive classes. So I hope you know what is exclusive and inclusive class. So if you get it as an exclusive class, then it is okay, but since it is an inclusive class, you have to change it like this. Then the second column is you have to find out the lower limit of the class interval, the corresponding class interval. So in the second column the lower limit is 5, the first row you get it as 59.5, second you get it as 62.5, and so on. Then you just write down the observed frequencies that you know. The fourth column you are going to apply a transformation, which is very much you are familiar with. That is, I'm going to apply over here Z is equal to X. Please don't mind my handwriting, it's really annoying, I know that. X minus mu. So okay, this is X. Okay, just consider this as X minus mu divided by sigma. Okay, so this transformation we are going to apply for the whole to this problem. So my fourth column will be Z is equal to X minus mu divided by sigma, which is equal to X minus, I know your mu is what, 67.45, that is your X bar, divided by what is your sigma, 2.92. Okay, now you find out each value. Now what is X over here? Now that will be a bit confusing for you right now. X is nothing but the lower limit. Okay, now x minus mu 67.45 divided by sigma. Okay, so in the first case it is 59.5 minus 67.45 divided by 2.92. The answer is minus negative 2.72. Next, apply the formula for the other rows also. You will get some values. Fill up that column. Now, the next column is a very crucial one. You have to find out the area under the normal curve. Okay. Now, how do you find out the area under the normal curve? Yes, you have to take your statistical tables for that, and in that you have to find out the tables for standard normal. Now let's see, this is how a page inside your table looks like, inside your book looks like. Now this is a page for your standard normal table, that is for Z. Now that you have your Z value over here, now in this case it is negative 2.72. You know that our the graph of what your normal distribution is a bell shaped. So yeah, both the areas are equal. That is the area from this side to 0, and from 0 to this is both these sides are equal. So if you have a negative value over here, negative area is provided, or negative value over here for Z, what you can do is, yeah, since this is symmetric, you can make it as positive and find out the area. Okay, now let's see from now for us it is what the first value is minus 2.72, right? So I'm going to make this as positive. So what, I'm not considering the sign over here, so just take 2.72. Now let's see how to find out the value 2.72. Now you have 2.7 over here, 2.72, and you have 0.02, so that you, when you add this up, what you get 2.72. Now let's see which is the value that comes at the intersecting point. Okay, 2.72, the value is 0.4967. So let's see whether I have written that. Yes, 0.4967. So this is how you find out the area under the normal curve when the Z value is given. So the first value I found out. Now you just check the next value. So the next value is what? Negative 1.70. As I said earlier, I'm not going to consider the magnitude. What I'm going to do is, yeah, I'm going to take into consideration the magnitude only, that is 1.70. Let's see. 1.70. So my value is 0.4554. Let's see, that is that what I'm getting? Yes. So similarly you fill the numbers or values under the column 5. Now the next column is regarding the area of each class. Now you have to find out the area of each class. Now what will you do for that? In order to find out the area of each class, what you have to do is, in order to find out the area of each class, what you have to do is, you have to subtract the values. That is, you have to subtract minus 4967 0.4967 and 4.554. That is, you have to subtract this value from the first value in order to get what? This value, that is 0.0413. So here you get 0.0413. So your first value, you get it like that. Okay. So how will you find out the next value, that is 0.2068? Yeah, you have to again subtract 0.2486 from your previous value, that is 0.4544, in order to get 0.2068. Okay. Then what about this? Yeah, you have to subtract 0.1406 from 0.2486 in order to get 0.3892. So this is how you have to fill up your sixth column. Okay, now after filling up the sixth column, or after finding out the area of each class, your final column, what is it? Theoretical frequencies. Now you know that your n is what? 100. So how will you find out the theoretical frequency? Yeah, 100 into, now 6 over here is column 6. Okay, 100 multiplied by column 6. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply 0.413 into 100, so that I get 4.12, which is approximately equal to 4. I'm going to multiply this value into 100. I get 20.68, which is approximately equal to 21. Multiply the next value with what? Into 100. Okay, now just I will give it this n is equal to 100, so that you don't have any confusion. Yeah, I will multiply 0.3892 into 100, so that you get 38.92, which is approximately what? 39. So that is how you fill up the seventh column, and this is how you get the theoretical frequencies, or the expected frequencies. Now you see the difference. You have the observed frequencies as 5. Here it is 4. Here it is 18. Here it is 21, 42, 39, 27, 28, 8 and 7. So that is the difference. Okay, so this is how you fit. This is how you do a fitting for a normal distribution. I hope you have understood the class. Thank you.